Well, hello and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Movie News here at MBE. I'm joined, as always, with John.
Yes.
And we've got a few things we would like to share with you that has dropped today. In fact, I think it was probably an hour after last night's show.
Hey.
But the big one, John, the headline, the thumbnail that you saw before clicking on this video, Train to Busan 2 Peninsula Resurrects international box office with $20 million debut. Director Yang Sang-ho's Train to Busan 2 has helped bring the international box office to life for the first time in months. John, now there's a couple of paragraphs here, facts and figures, which I'm going to read. This is from movieweb.com. We've got to credit them for this. They put the words together, not me. It's official. Train to Busan presents Peninsula is a hit. The zombie sequel made its debut overseas over the week.
Presumptuous.
And in 5 markets, including
$20 million.
Korea, where the movie hails from. All told, director Yang Sang-ho's follow-up to 2016's acclaimed breakout hit earned more than $20 million
again.
in its debut, with theatres shut down around the globe largely since mid-March. An opening of this size hasn't happened in months, making this a huge win and a much needed sign of life for the industry. Now here's the facts and figures. Train to Busan 2 brought in 13.2 million in Korea, overtaking another local hit, Alive. In Taiwan, the movie earned 4.7 million, which represents 76% of the total box office in the country. In Vietnam, the sequel earned a little over $1 million in preview screenings. Malaysia added 995,000 to the total, with Singapore taking $795,000. For a movie of this size, this is encouraging on all fronts. What's more, it signifies that audiences are very hungry for new content and will return to the theatres when it is safe to do so. I'm going to take a little breather now, John.
It's clearly safe to do so in the places that you just listed, Stephen, but sadly we have still not got the green light here to go and watch movies in the theatres. And even sadder, I did search up when this movie is set to be released, and it's not until sometime next month apparently. And even then, with obviously Tenet and whatnot being delayed again and again and again, it seems as though that may be a little bit pie in the sky, a little bit fantastical. We may not get this movie until next year, Stephen, but look, I'm excited that it's coming out. We are also reacted to the original movie's trailer. We've still not seen, well, I can't speak for you, I've not yet seen it. We will probably be reviewing that on Friday if we can get it. I plan
to see this tomorrow night.
So I'm excited to see the original movie, which is a sort of modern day cult classic zombie movie. Apparently it's very, very good. And from the trailer, I was stunned by some of the sequences, Stephen, and we've said it before again and again and again. There's something about the Asian market and the Korean movies as well. They've got a certain slickness to them. It feels different to Hollywood movies. Maybe I'm wrong, but just listening to the likes of Bong Joon-ho, I always get his name wrong. I always do it, and I always get his name wrong. I do apologise if you're Korean and you're perhaps watching and you can understand me. It's a very niche market, I do understand, but if you do, then apologise for butchering the great man's name every time I utter it. But there is something different in the way they approach movie making as well, just the editing and stuff like that, and they do things differently to Hollywood and maybe traditional Western ways of filmmaking, and it's palpable when you actually watch a movie. So what I'm getting at is I'm excited for the original movie, and that will then let us just go in, obviously imbued with knowledge from that original movie, into the sequel when it hopefully drops in the next few months. That's a little bit of slang. Stephen, look, you hammered through the numbers there, and $20 million is very impressive, because obviously we've had zero getting into theatres in recent months, because there's been zero movies out in recent months, there's been zero theatres opened in recent months, and best of all, it's under 2 hours long. So when China finally does I think they're allowing people, patrons, whatever you want to call them, fans of film, back into theatres. They've put a limit of 2 hours on the movies, so you can't sit in the theatre for more than 2 hours. This movie is an hour and 56 minutes long, so people are going to be able to consume this over in China as well. A huge market to tap into, second biggest movie market on the planet. So it's looking good for Train to Busan 2 Peninsula. So I can't wait to see it, man. Hopefully we get it shortly.
Yeah, I mean, well, listen, we're going to be talking
the first one.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the first one, obviously live on Friday night anyway. I do plan to watch the first one tomorrow night when I'm not doing this, John. So, good luck to try to find some time for yourself to watch it.
Yeah, I'll get it. Don't worry. I stay up to 3 in the morning, Steve.
Well, this is the thing, you know. I'll just give you an idea of what part 2 is about. John, Train to Busan presents Peninsula. It stars Gang Dong-won and Lee Jung-hun. It centres on a soldier named Jun Suk, who already escaped the zombie-infested wasteland with his life. He's forced to relive the horror all over again when he's tasked with a covert retrieval mission. The team is thrown for a loop when they unexpectedly find a group of survivors. Bit of a...
Walking Dead.
But yeah, that's what I was thinking, John. Their lives will depend on whether the best or worst of human nature prevails under these dire circumstances.
Yeah.
The only thing about that is it's kind of... because we've not watched the first one, we know there is a group of survivors now, so there's a bit of a spoiler there. But does that appeal to you?
It does, yeah. If they handle it correctly. Certainly, if they can harness the sort of humanistic side of things, because they did that in The Walking Dead, and for me it's slightly diluted the experience.
Yeah.
I always enjoyed the sort of visceral side of The Walking Dead, where the actual zombies were the main bad guys. There was a sense of foreboding and fear when they were on the screen, chasing our human characters. And when they started focusing on the likes of Negan, I think it was, and just the more the bad human side of things, the warring aspect of different communities in that universe, it lost something for me. The zombies get put to the back burner. I hope that's not the case with this. Again, it's difficult speaking about the sequel when I haven't seen the original, but from what I've seen in the trailer, they're very fast-moving, brutal zombies. I'd find it hard to maybe escape the real or the suspension of disbelief if we go into this movie and those zombies are maybe neutered to the extent where they're not in the movie for a huge stretch, and it's just mistrust between two human sort of colonies and them bickering and perhaps one backstabbing the other. I don't know how it's going to go, but it's an interesting concept. You don't want to retread the original movie and do all the same things they did before, but it's stuck in a confined space. There's zombies coming after them. They're trying to reach a sort of Shangri-La at the end of the movie. They need to do something different. And what I've seen, Stephen, from the posters, there's been some stunning posters of this movie. The shot of the solo sort of figure walking through and there's zombies behind him, and it looks ruined and it looks foggy. It's very, very cool the way they've sort of promoted this movie. Yeah. I just can't get my head around how... did you say it was Thailand who have got this as well? How the hell have they escaped coronavirus? I know South Korea are incredible the way they've approached it, obviously with testing and whatnot, so I understand why they've got it, because they are ahead of everyone as usual. But how the hell have Thailand and stuff like that? Are they really good?
Taiwan, I said.
Taiwan. Are they doing very well with the whole coronavirus thing? Yeah. Interesting.
It is interesting. But
we're doing very well, but we'll not get in to see it.
But just before we move on to our next topic, John, but I think, right, having a think about it, I don't think we're going to see this film anytime soon here in the UK. I don't think. It took such a long time for us to get to see Parasite here in the UK. We were the last territory, as you mentioned last night. But I'm looking forward to watching the original film. We were very much late to the party when that came out. You did explain the reason for that, John. We were just setting up Movie Burner Entertainment at the time.
Yeah, we were having a mental breakdown,
We were writing our little socks off, weren't we? Yourself, me and Kevin, and in the early days, and we were trying to do one review per day, so we were restricted to watching one film. You'd review a film. I would have to say I can't watch that now because time's precious.
Still not seen Moonlight.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy days, strange
Stephen,
days.
Stephen, I'll quickly say that I was talking absolute nonsense when I says it was coming out in the August of 2020 here. It was scheduled. It ain't. No. It's not even got a release date here. That was the United States.
That suggests to me it's going to be 2021 before we see it.
Yeah, that's sad.
It's sad.
I ain't seen the original, so it's given me time.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? It's given us time to...
But not too much time, guys.
Catch up with things. But we'll be doing that review on Friday night, folks,
yes.
So tune in then. But we'll move on
to the Car Crash TV with the beers again.
Next.
Car Crash beers.
We blame the wheat beers. But John, Justice League Snyder cut may be longer than originally reported. Zack Snyder teases his cut of Justice League could be longer than the original 214 minutes runtime he initially advertised last year. In an interview with Beyond the Trailer, Snyder touched on Justice League's runtime and hinted there will be quite a bit of content for viewers to dissect. He didn't state an exact runtime, but his Justice League is definitely not going to be short. He said this: I have famously advertised the runtime at 214 minutes. Now, in its current state, it's going to end up being longer than that. Exciting.
14 minutes.
Exciting to bring all this new
Jesus
material
Christ.
to the fans that get to see all this crazy and awesome new sequences. And I think that's going to be really exciting for everyone. They're breaking this down, aren't they, for...
Yeah, it's a mini-series.
For HBO, aren't they?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Are they?
I think it's a mini-series, so I don't really care.
3.5 hours, man.
I don't care, because it's going to be a mini-series anyway. They can make it as long as they want, because it means we get to see Henry Cavill much more. We get to see Ben Affleck much more. We get to see Gal Gadot much more, and the rest of the gang. So I,
Oh, you're away there, Steve.
yeah, I'm away again. Yeah,
Oh,
hello,
dear.
hello. I'm
Well,
away.
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll actually just pop it a little screen up if I can. It's an absolute shambles, guys. Come to me. There we go. Live stream starting soon. We'll be back in a moment, guys. And we're back again. There you go. It's to me, to you, to me, to you. And you've zoomed out hugely, Stephen. Jesus Christ.
Wayne's World. Party time. Excellent. Yeah, John, I was just saying, Zack Snyder, he's been actually quite vocal over the last couple of weeks, particularly with the Justice League stuff coming out and all that. He's also been talking about the Batman, very much looking forward to seeing Matt Reeves' version of the Caped Crusader.
Rumours of Ben Affleck potentially coming back.
Yeah, it's all
as the Batman.
It's just a rumour, but we'll have to wait and see on that. The other thing I picked up on this as well, John, I saw it. I think it might have been on Twitter or something like that. It was very short and sweet sort of wording, but I read somewhere this version is detached from the DCEU. I don't know how that works, because Dawn of Justice was sort of the precursor of this film, and where we end up with it. You can watch Justice League as a separate entity. You don't have to watch anything before it or after it.
It'd make no sense. So Superman is dead and he gets
exactly.
revived,
That was what I was going to say next, John. So I don't know where that came from. I don't really see it in this article or anything like that. So it might have just been a lot of nonsense. But what's your take on this? An extended version, obviously, of the Justice League.
Could it not have been that it was the Batman, which is disconnected from the DCEU, and we could maybe have that explained through Flashpoint, with obviously Michael Keaton coming in, his Batman from Batman Returns, and Batman 1989 coming back from a different universe, and that maybe sets up multiverses and whatnot. That was what I think they were suggesting, Stephen. What's my take on it? Well, I mean, it's the guys get previews for making incredibly long special cuts of movies. Of course, Dawn of Justice, I think it was.
Watchmen was
like,
over 3 hours.
Yeah,
long
it was
as
like,
well.
I think 3.5. It was like over 3 hours anyway. Dawn of Justice.
Yeah.
So he's got previews for it, but 214 minutes is insanity. That's over 3.5 hours. That is insanity. That's getting into Ben-Hur levels of duration. And you've not got Charlton Heston, and it's getting into 10 Commandments as well. And you've not got Yul Brynner's incredibly shiny head and absolutely magnificent tan, which I've been trying to get for donkeys, and I can't because we stay in Scotland and the weather is absolutely chronic here. It's summer and it's perpetually cloudy outside. But Stephen, look, I'm excited to see what his vision is. I spoke about it before. I wasn't all for the Justice League sort of Snyder cut because it was done. It's a dead sort of franchise. Even DC and Warner Brothers have cut ties with it. They're moving off and doing standalone things. They're doing disconnected trilogies with Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson. We got the Joker movie, standalone movie. They are going off and doing different things. So I did see the purpose of getting back and refleshing out a different alternate take, whatever you want to call it, of a movie which is done. It was a flop. But the more I've seen Zack Snyder's passion for it, the more I've seen perhaps the out-and-out DC fanboys pushing, clamouring for it, the more I'm becoming more intrigued by what the actual guy's got at his mid-tier. And the fact that he has an additional, I mean, I can't recall what Justice League was. Must have been at least 2 hours anyway long. He may have an additional hour and a half of footage. If he gets the green light, I don't know what the budget is. I think we spoke about it previously. Warner Brothers, the chief executive or something, says it was at least $30 million.
Yeah.
If he can green screen things back in and do things with CGI and make it look all a part of sort of the one story, what he had in the can for the original movie, if he can blend it in and change colours and whatnot, because he was talking about changing the colour of the sky at the end, I think, from red to something else.
Yeah.
If he can do it and do justice, it may be enough to bring me. Look, I'm enjoying what I'm hearing about HBO Max and all of these other streaming services anyway.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have 5 or 6 by next
John,
year.
you've been a big Harry Potter fan. I don't know. I know I'm moving off.
Yeah, they're on.
Did you know? But they're whipping them off again.
Are they whipping them off?
After only 3 months have been on the platform, they're taking all. Is it 8 films?
8 films, yeah.
Yeah, they're taking
Is
them
it
off.
even now?
So I don't know if there's anything to do with obviously the controversy with J.K. Rowling.
Oh,
I'm
no.
not really sure.
What I think it is,
I'd hope
Stephen,
not.
is HBO Max, they have some written agreement where they rotate things off. I think it's
So
some
it's not like Netflix
it's-
when it
yeah,
goes off, it's off. Kind
it's
of
some
when,
legacy thing from when
Yeah.
it was a TV show where they can keep hold of it for maybe 3 months or a month, take it off, and then it's off for 3 months, then it comes back on. Because it was the same with the DC stuff.
See, I don't like that. I like the way Netflix do it. You know, they keep it on for a lengthy period because, especially for television series that go on 24 seasons or
Yeah.
something like that, you don't want to get to the 20th season and then they pull it.
Yeah.
You know, and you're 4 seasons short of concluding the story or anything like
It's
that.
just
But,
a ploy to get you.
yeah,
pay
and
for
then
it.
you know, if it's on HBO, then you're not seeing the Harry Potter films.
No.
You watch maybe 6 or 7 of them, and then they pull it. You've got to
Got it in Blu-ray, Stephen.
You've got to rent it. You've got to download it. You've got to do something else. So
Not a problem for me.
Horses for
I'm
pussies.
an absolute avid Harry Potter fan, as you do know.
Yeah.
I've read the books 3 times, all of them, and I have it in Blu-ray and I had it in DVD as well, but I get rid of them. So not an issue for me. But look, if he can get this right, I don't even care. Like you, if it's perhaps a sort of Tarantino mini-series where it's split up into episodes, it could be 5 hours long, I don't give a shit. If it's done to a high enough standard, I'm not interested in this concept that was being floated around by other people, that it could be a sort of steel girders effect where it's just, you can see, that's a terrible sort of analogy, but you can see the behind the scenes things, the green screens, and it's a sort of unfinished product, and it's just showing you his vision through maybe behind the scenes
No, I
stuff.
don't want to see that,
I want
no.
it to be a completed
Yeah.
product.
no, I don't want.
No.
That could be a bonus on a Blu-ray or something like that, but don't do that. That's not what people want.
No.
You know, they're trying to give people what they want, and I don't think that's it.
I don't think they could ever.
I think there's people out there that would want that, but I think the majority just want a complete version of Zack Snyder's vision, John. You know,
Yeah.
something that he obviously was. I'm not going to say robbed of, because obviously
Well, he was.
It was obviously tragic circumstances that made him have to step away from the project, but it looks like it may have a happy ending. Fingers crossed. I really do hope it succeeds. I hope it does live up to the fans' expectations as well.
Yeah.
And mostly for Zack Snyder as well, because he's put a lot of heart and soul into this. He's gave it a lot. You know, the Man of Steel film is still one of the best DC EU films to date, if not the best for me anyway. I don't know about yourself, John. I know that you like Wonder Woman. I know you like.
Oh, it's still Man of
Aquaman
Steel
as
for
well,
me,
but
because I'm a big fan of Henry Cavill. I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of Superman as well. So disappointed about the way Ben Affleck's stint as Batman went, and the way it never went really. He never really got a proper out and out Batman movie. That's just sad though, but that's life. We're getting Matt Reeves, we're getting Robert Pattinson. For me, Man of Steel is still up there. Wonder Woman I loved.
Yeah.
I'll still enjoy Aquaman as well, but it's different. Shazam again, just completely different. But for me, Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, sort of toe to toe.
I would agree with that. But we'll move on, John,
Yes.
to another property of DC
It was very quick,
and
wasn't
Warner
it?
Brothers, and we're
That
talking about
change it.
HBO again. It's Birds of Prey. Will be available on HBO Max next month. Birds of Prey finding a streaming home. Set to bow on HBO Max in August, where it will join Harley Quinn's other recent film, Suicide Squad. After a disappointing performance at the box office, Birds of Prey became one of the first films to migrate towards the VOD option as the coronavirus pandemic began to shut down movie theatres across the country. It will try to reach a new audience when it finally becomes more widely available for streaming next month, where it will join Harley Quinn's other recent film, as I said, Suicide
Yes.
Squad. Birds of Prey is the next DC addition to HBO Max, as Robbie's movie will be added for free streaming to subscribers of the service on August 15th. Free streaming to subscribers? Surely you've got to be a paid member to be a subscriber. I don't like the wording of that. The move to HBO Max will come approximately 6 months after the film's initial wide release in early February. I can't believe it's that long. Birds of Prey is already available on Blu-ray, 4K Ultra HD and DVD, released in those formats in May. What's your take on this, John? To me, it does say in this article, they're hoping that it will find a new audience. That is the question. Do you think this will find a new audience, or do you think it's just a absolute bomb scare of a film?
Stephen, I think it's a lemon of a film.
Lemon?
A lemon, yeah. A jalopy, as we like to say over here, which is technically something you use to describe a god-awful car. But this is a god-awful movie by all accounts. With obviously Margot Robbie's performance as Harley Quinn perhaps a standout. I think there was talk of Huntress as well.
Yeah.
I think it's Huntress. What the hell's she called again? Mary Elizabeth Winstead. She was apparently decent, but by all accounts, Hugh McGregor's Black Mask character, is it Black Mask?
I think that was the name
absolutely terrible. Apparently it was a cardboard villain, 2D. It lacked any real motivation for his actions. He was a bit of a sadomasochist, sadistic shithead, and it was apparently a really poor villain, and people were really disappointed by that. There was a whole array of aspects that disappointed them. I've still not seen the movie. I don't think it will get a second window on this HBO Max, Stephen. With some of this content that's coming onto this, it's fighting against some real competition on there as well, and people who are subscribing to HBO Max are more than likely the people who would have went and watched this type of film in the theatres anyway. They're not going to go out their way to subscribe to HBO Max just to consume Birds of Prey. And it's not like Greyhound on Apple TV Plus, where it's Greyhound, isn't it? Where Tom Hanks is coming into a movie on a streaming service. That draws people in. It's not like that one with the Russo brothers we spoke about yesterday with Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. Blockbuster names drawing you in. This is a 6-month-old movie which has had its stint at the box office. It was absolutely disastrous. It was a complete letdown. It got beat at the box office by some ridiculous, I think it may have been The Hunt, which wasn't that bad, but there was some movie, it might not have been The Hunt, it may have been some other sort of lower budget, The Invisible Man it was, an $8 million budget movie, absolutely destroyed it at the box office, and it was so bad they were changing the name of the movie and everything. They were making changes in the theatres so people could go and watch the movie. In case we're being confused about the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn, it was too long a title. They didn't realise it was the Birds of Prey movie. They just shortened it to Birds of Prey Harley Quinn. It's like, what are you doing? It was a disaster. I can't even recall who directed the movie, but I don't see how this is going to help HBO Max out any. I mean, it's a DC movie. It was always going to come on anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go out my way to watch it. I'm not even going to rent it. I don't really care about the movie at all. And like you said, Stephen, before we came on, I'm probably more excited about this DC Universe animated show starring Harley Quinn, voiced by Kaley Cuoco, because I like Kaley Cuoco from Big Bang Theory. So if anything, that would draw me into the streaming service. Seeing all of those, if they can bring all of the DC animated movies over, like you've watched Gotham by Gaslight and stuff like that, I would go and subscribe just to watch all of them, because by all accounts they are incredible.
John, I would agree with that. You know, I've painstakingly searched out a lot of these films. You either get them at your local supermarket or you can get them on eBay. It depends on how rare they are. You know, there's a lot of ones out there a lot older and they're very hard to come by. Certainly, you'll not get them in a supermarket or anything like that. You'll have to go dig deeper, maybe on Amazon or eBay or something like that. But I would highly recommend watching some of the DC animated stuff. It's so much better than the Marvel, the previous Marvel stuff. The Marvel stuff that's coming out now is a lot better than it used to be, but DC's animated universe is fantastic. If you're into that kind of thing, a lot of people don't like it. I love the different styles in animation and stuff like that, you know. And you've got all these whole host of stars that come out and, you know, lend their voices to all these famous characters as well, and it's just great identifying them. Don't go on IMDb and check them out. Try and work it out for yourself. Some big names in there, and some reoccurring big names as well for other versions of films and stuff like that. Yeah, Gotham by Gaslight, it's one of my favourite ones, John. So when I did read this, it's the first 2 seasons of Harley Quinn, the DC Universe animated show, as you said, starring Kaley Cuoco. I'm on board for that. You know, I would watch that. But there's a lot of, I think The Dark Knight is on it as well, you know, so they have got a massive catalogue of stuff that that would appeal to a lot of DC fans anyway. But I would love to see the animated stuff, just personally, you know.
Steve, final thing I would add, they're saying something about a Green Lantern series as well. Is that animated? I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. I'd love to see a Green Lantern movie, live action TV show. Yeah. We need to get DC stepping up to the plate, if that's even the saying. I'm terrible with sayings, I say this all the time. And try and maybe match go toe to toe with Marvel, what they're doing on Disney Plus with
I
these
would
little
prefer
mini.
to see the Green Lantern, the corpse, rather
Yeah.
than
Yeah, exactly.
the singular, you know.
Yeah, well, you would probably establish that in a movie first and then
Yeah.
give them spin-off TV shows or something like that. But something I want to see, man. But I'm not in charge of creative content at Warner Brothers or DC, sadly. It'd be different if I was.
You are here though, so
Yes.
that's something.
Yes.
But anyway, listen, we'll move on to our final article, something that's very close to our hearts, John.
Yes.
We try and book out an hour or so on a Saturday night drinking beer and whiskey and playing Red Dead Redemption 2, which I've just found out reading this article is actually a prequel to Red Dead Redemption. I did not know that.
Yes.
So I have not played the story mode in Red Dead Redemption 2. That's probably how I don't know
Because I
that.
think you actually play John Marsden's parents and maybe him as a young boy at the very end.
And coming from me,
There you
John,
go.
you
Maybe
gave
not,
me
though.
a loan of the 2010 release, was it?
Well, it was a while back, yes.
Yeah, and I played that game from start to finish, single player. Didn't do the online stuff because I was so engrossed with the storyline. That's why I picked this article. I want to get your thoughts on this as well, John. Red Dead Redemption movie's trailer imagines Kit Harington in John Marston's role. I watched the trailer. It's about a minute and a half long. It's impressive. It's obviously footage from other stuff.
Yeah.
We're not falling for that one again. We did it with Joker last year,
Concept.
and it was one of our most watched videos.
8,000 views for
And
a
I think it was
concept
just
trailer.
because people felt sorry for us because we were
Yes.
so engrossed with it and very impressed with this fake trailer. But this is a fan-made trailer, John, and it's a new fan-made trailer and offers insights into what a Red Dead Redemption live-action film could look like with Kit Harington as John Marsden. The hit rock star game first arrived in 2010, there we are, and was followed up by a highly regarded prequel in 2018. Of course, the Red Dead franchise officially first kicked off in 2004 with Red Dead Revolver, but it was the vast, immersive open world and engaging story of Red Dead Redemption that truly made gamers take notice. Fans have been through a lot with the game's protagonist, John Marsden, and though things end on a sad note for the character, they did indeed. More than a few people would love to see him portrayed on the big screen. John, did you finish the game?
Funnily enough,
remember?
Stephen, no, I didn't finish
So
the
you
game.
don't know the ending then?
Well, I know the ending, yeah. He gets killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a great story, and it's one of these games. If it's got a fantastic story and it hooks you, you will play this till you finish it. Very much like this might be controversial in the gaming world. Alan Wake.
No, it was a great game, man. I loved that game.
I loved that game for its
Great
story.
soundtrack.
Yeah, it had Roy Orbison in there.
Yeah. In Dreams.
If you give a game a good story, it will succeed. It will gather a fan base.
Yeah.
Film is not different in that sense. If it has a good story and you pick the right cast members, Kit Harington, I think he would be an ideal
Stephen,
actor for that role.
listen, I spoke about Kit Harington a couple of, what was last
It was
week,
last
I think,
Wednesday, John, yeah.
Last Wednesday when I was on my Todd, as we like to see here in Scotland. And it was, I think, in regards to his sort of duology, or the duology of the character he is going to be portraying in Eternals. And I says, look, I'm incredibly impressed with this guy every time I see him act. I think he's underrated. I think he was fantastic in Game of Thrones. He's been in a couple of other movies, not much success out with of Game of Thrones, but I think he's definitely capable of coming in and portraying John Marsden. And I think he could do a fine job. I mean, if they can bring Tom Holland in to play whatever the lead character is in Uncharted. I've not owned a PlayStation since, well, I had a PS4, I'm talking crap, I gave it away though. I get bored with Last of Us, which is, you used to talk about controversial gaming opinion, Stephen. I get bored with the original Last of Us. Jesus Christ, people would lynch me for that. They would actually lynch me. Not so much for this second one, but the first one. But I've not been someone who's been around PlayStation games exclusives. So I don't know much about Uncharted, so therefore I don't know the suitability of Tom Holland, but I get the sense that he's a little bit smaller than the actual character in the games, and it would be the same for Kit Harington in this Red Dead Redemption game. I get the feeling John Marston's quite a tall chap in the game. He's a little bit smaller, but he's got the charisma and he's certainly got the screen presence to come in and fill his boots. Stephen, I'd love to see a Red Dead Redemption game, period. I just think it's a great setting. I don't feel we get enough Western movies these days. There's a real drought when it comes to westerns. I mean, the last one I can think of is probably Slow West with Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
And then you had the Texas Rangers one with Matt Damon and what's his face? Totally blanking on his name. Absolutely shocking. It's not Kurt Russell, Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
That was probably 2012 or something. I can't even recall the name of it.
That was a remake.
It was a remake, yeah.
I can't remember the name.
Can't recall the name. We don't get many westerns these days. True Grit.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that movie. I love my westerns. And you are right, when they get the story right in video games, it usually pops. This is what's been lacking when they've been adapting video games to movies. They've took maybe a not soulless, but sort of hollow experiences.
Yeah. Rampage is a good example.
Yeah.
You know, it was a great video game, John,
Yeah.
but it was just a daft game.
Yeah, there's
and
no
they
real
took
story.
the daft game and made it into a film. Stick Dwayne Johnson in there, then it's going to sell. But as you
I suppose that's deliberate, though.
There's not a great story in there.
And what you mentioned with Rampage, I suppose with a filmmaker, if they can take the concept and then they've got that sort of scope to create their own story within the concept of the video game itself, then perhaps that's something that's more agreeable to a filmmaker. But with this, you wouldn't have to do this, Stephen. You could just take it and maybe beef up certain parts, but you could do a straight adaptation. They do it with novels, and I think it would pop amazingly onto screen. There's enough fans of Red Dead, there's enough fans of Rockstar. You could absolutely do a Red Dead Redemption video game, and I think it'd be not video game, movie.
Yeah.
And I think it'd do very, very well if they can get it casted correctly. Kit Harrington would be fantastic. I'm trying to think who I would get in, Stephen, as a director. I think James Mangold would be someone who would be right up there. You've seen it with Logan. That was a strange sort of Western vibes to it in the comic book genre. So he's shown he can handle that. He was talking about perhaps doing a Boba Fett movie at one point. Again, that character's a sort of lone gunslinger, like the Mandalorian, where it's almost like an outlaw Western vibe.
Yeah.
I think he'd be magnificent if they can get him in, John, and maybe Kit Harrington, and you've got the Meat and Bones, a very good, promising movie there.
Yeah, fingers crossed something happens.
Absolutely, Steve, but we can't get much more to add to that, man.
Nothing more to add.
Yes, so I'm going to round the show up on that note. What is your thoughts, guys, on the Train to Busan 2 Peninsula sequel, perhaps saving the international box office, $20 million opening, and just certain little specific Asian markets? What will it do when it comes out? Will it save the entire box office if we can get a chance to actually see the movie in wider markets in Europe and North America, here in the United Kingdom? What's your thoughts on Zack Snyder coming out and saying his Justice League cut is even longer than was originally reported, perhaps as long as 215 minutes? That's ridiculous. What's your thoughts on it? What do you make about Birds of Prey hitting HBO Max? Do you think it will get a new lease of life? And do you want to see a Red Dead Redemption movie with Kit Harrington starring and perhaps James Mangold directing? If you've got anything to say about any of the topics we've touched upon on today's show, then you can comment below and let us know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed us waffling away for a solid 20 odd minutes. I'm not entirely sure how long the show is, but it's probably about 20 to 30 minutes. It usually is. And you can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, and you can subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. And if you do, then you'll see us again. We'll see me again tomorrow, I should say. Stephen's taking a break. He'll be watching the original Train to Busan. I was sweating my knickknacks off here after doing weights on a show I'm on. See you then, guys, if you join me. Bye bye.